Hello, lovely to see you, and thanks for watching this and taking the time to do your work. The last couple of days, we've been working on a method to solving systems of equations. In the past, we learned how to graph a system of equations and solve it that way, where we graphed both lines and we found where they crossed. And then, like I said, the last week or two, we've looked at substitution, where we, that was bugging me, where we could take one equation and plug it into the other and therefore could solve for this variable. Again, we could take this, plug this in. We only have x's now, so that would allow us to go ahead and solve for x. Today we're going to talk about a different method because sometimes we get a set of equations that doesn't look like this. So before we do that, I want to just start off by saying there is this rule in math. There's this rule where we can add two balanced equations of a system to get one balanced equation that represents the whole system together. So again, we can add the two balanced equations. So I'm going to add both sides on either side of the equal sign. X plus 3x gives me 4x, and then 2y plus 2y gives me 4 total y, and then 17 plus 5 is 22. Now we have one equation, one balanced equation that represents our system. So there's this rule, and we need to keep that in mind here as we get into this idea of our new method. Today's lesson is all about this method called elimination. So this idea of to eliminate. So if you were in class, I asked you in your own words, what do you think eliminate means? Take 20 seconds, think the word eliminate, and what do you think of when you hear the word eliminate? Hopefully you think it means to get rid of. And you'd be exactly right. To eliminate means to remove, get rid of something. We can make it go away. So we can use this idea of eliminate with this idea of adding two equations together. So now let's look at that. I'll model two of them, and then we'll kind of go into our notes. So, all right. So again, I'm going to add both sides of my equation. 3x plus x gives me 4 total x's. And then we have a negative 4y and a positive 4y. I have negative 4 plus 4, or 4 minus 4. And that gives us 0. So what happens is those go away. And that's why we call it the elimination method. Because I have this negative 4 and this positive 4. Two numbers that are equal but opposite, so they go away, they cancel out. And then we have equals, and then 8 on this other side. Okay, so we added two equations together, and we had something that eliminated. So then I can do that again. So we have 2x plus 3y equals negative 9, and then x minus 3y equals 18. Same thing. We're going to add these together. 2x plus x gives us 3x. Plus 3y minus 3y. Again, I have equal but opposite, so they eliminate. And then negative 9 plus 18 gives us positive 9. Okay, so this is the beginning of our elimination method. What we're going to go into next is actually talking about what we can do from there. So now we can be in OneNote. Hopefully you already have it open. You should, because you're watching me and you clicked on me to get to it. Okay, so let's actually dive into this. Let me move this over slightly. All right, so the elimination method. We use elimination to, again, solve a system for x and y. And we use it when x and y's are on the same side in both equations. And then we use elimination like substitution, so that way we can solve for one variable at a time. So again, this was substitution, where we took what y equaled and we plugged it in. So we only had x's left, and we could solve for x. Elimination, you can see here that both equations have x and y on the same side. It doesn't say y equals or x equals. And then by eliminating these 9's here, we're left with only x. So similarly, we can solve for one variable at a time. From here, we can find what x is. And that's what we're going to go into in this problem. All right, so I'm going to solve this using elimination. I'm going to move my little camera up to the corner. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is, if the first equation and the second equation have a matching and opposite coefficient, use elimination. So I see that we have this -9 and this +9. I see we have matching and opposite, so that tells me I'm going to use elimination. Those are going to cancel out with each other, -9 and +9. -10 plus 8 gives us -2x equals 20. 10 plus 10 gives us 20. So we've added the 2 and we've made the ones eliminate. Now we're going to solve for that missing variable. I only have x, so I can find what x is. We have -2 times x, so we get rid of that by dividing by -2. And we get x equals -10. Okay, again, we have a system of equations here. We have an x and a y, so I'm not finished until I know both what x is and what y is. So just like we did with substitution, once I find what one variable is, we're going to plug it back in to find the missing one. So now I'm going to write down one of these other equations. I'm going to choose the 8x plus 9y equals 10. Again, you can choose either one of those. It doesn't matter. You'd get the same answer. Now in this, again, we can only solve an equation when we have one variable. Right now I have x and y, but guess what? We know what x is. So instead of keeping x, we're going to plug in that -10. And we're going to solve for y now. That gives us -80. We get rid of addition and subtraction first, so we're going to move the -80 by adding 80. And we get 9y equals 10 plus 80 is 90. This is 9 times y, so we get rid of it by dividing. And we get y equals 10. And then again, just like last time, just like with graphing and like with substitution, we end it by writing as an ordered pair. So I'm going to write my x, which is -10, comma my y, +10. Okay, if you need to pause it and get this down, take the time, pause me, and get this down. Don't rush it. I want to see this completely filled out. All right, on to this one. So this one we're going to try to do like a we do thing, so I might ask you to pause here and there to try and do it. Okay, so if the first and second equation have matching and opposite coefficients, you can use elimination. I see a +y and a -3y, so that tells me elimination. So now we're going to add the two equations, and the matching and opposite should cancel out. So pause me and add these two equations together and tell me what you get. What equals what? Take 20 seconds, pause me, and try to eliminate those and add them together. Okay, so hopefully we saw those two things that were equal but opposite. So those went away. We can add 2x plus x to get 3 x's. And then -9 plus 18 gives us a +9. Okay, we're going to solve for the remaining variable now. Take a second, solve for the variable. This should be one step really quick. Okay, we have 3 times x. So we can divide both sides by 3, and we get x equals 3. Some of you might have been able to not even do that step. You could say 3 times what gives me 9? 3 times 3 gives you 9. Okay, so now substitute that value back in to one of these to find the missing variable. We know what x is, so we're going to plug x in so we can find y. Y is our missing variable. So I'm going to rewrite one of those equations. Okay, again, you can choose either one, top or bottom. Take a minute, plug the 3 in, and try to find what y equals. Take 1 minute and do that. Pause me, come back when you're finished to check your answer, or come back if you're stuck. Pause me now. Okay, so we're going to plug that 3 in right here. So I'm actually just going to erase it and plug it in. I know that 2 times 3 gives us 6. And again, we're solving for our missing one. We knew what x was, so now we're trying to get y by itself. We have 6 plus 3y. If this is what I want to find, we need to get rid of the thing furthest from me first, which is this 6. Opposite of positive is to subtract. And we get 3y equals negative 15. We have 3 times y, so we get rid of that by dividing. And we get negative 5. And then again, finally write it as an ordered pair. You are not finished until we have it as an x, comma, y ordered pair. And there we have it. So that is our new method of elimination. So again, we do this when we see that we have x's and y's on one side, and we can see that our either our y's or our x's would cancel out because they're equal and opposite. So cross whatever out that would cancel, and then add the remaining, find x or y, and then plug it back in. Again, if you need to get this down, pause me to finish writing this down. What I want you to do is, based on how this went for you, if you felt like this went pretty easy and naturally and you feel like it's not too hard for you, I want you to start at the medium section. If you feel like this is pretty hard and you still need some more work with the beginning stuff, I want you to start on the easy section, where we start by just eliminating. So not solving. I just want you to do this step of adding your equations together. And then doing this step of plugging in 3, solving for y, plugging in 4, solving for x. And then finally an elimination problem where I give you some helps to get started. Okay? Choose the one that best fits you. After you finish this, do your mastery check, and then shoot me a message when you are finished so I can make sure I get this graded for you. All right, thank you again for your hard work. Send me a message when this is done so I know to grade it. Otherwise, I won't.